Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. In the previous video, we discussed the introduction about the theme of the poem and a few stanzas as well. We were talking about the need for keeping quiet, to initiate a process of introspection, to realize our mistakes, to correct ourselves, and to start thinking and acting for a new world of universal brotherhood and global peace. Now the poet initiated the process by counting up to 12 to start meditation. He tells that we should stop all our activities for a while and start meditating or get ready for meditation, quiet introspection. And he also says that once we are on the face of the earth, we should not speak any language because language divides people into nationalities and provinces. So let's not divide in any way. Let us feel the universal togetherness, a piece of togetherness inside. So let us stop for a second and let's not stretch our arms so much, he says. Stretching arms so much stands for our greed. Okay, greed of capturing or confiscating or amassing things for ourselves, our extreme selfishness and greed. Okay, now can you look at the word arms, A-R-M-S? You should not move your arms so much, means you should not stretch your hands so much, means stretch your power so much, means amassing properties or accumulating resources, accumulating wealth, or confiscating the borders of other country, territories of other country. Okay, so arms stands for that, stretching your arms so much. Then there is a figure of speech in the word arm. We can call it as pun, P-U-N, pun. Pun is a figure of speech of playing at the meaning of words. A play at the meaning of words. Okay, here arms stand for our hands. We are stretching our hands and confiscating things, our greed. Or arms can stand for weapons. Okay, arms can stand for weapons. We are using weapons, stretching our arms, using our arms upon the other countries and confiscating them, warring against other countries. Okay, so the figure of speech in the word arms is pun. Pun is a figure of speech in which there is a play at the meaning of the word. Okay, arms. Arms here stands for hands stretching out. Arms here stands for arms and ammunitions, or the weapons that we use to confiscate or conquer other country. All right. So then the poet talked about the exotic moment. It would be an exotic moment where everybody stands still, stop all the destructive activities, and we all will feel a kind of togetherness in silence, an extremely sudden change, an extremely inexplicable feeling of togetherness in silence. Rather, silence unites us, or peace unites us. We are not divided by any of our activities, or we are not divided by any of our greed or destructive elements, etc. Our mind will be at peace and we will be in oneness with silence. So everybody occupying the same position of silence, togetherness. Okay, that will be an exotic moment. It will be strange as well because we have never experienced it, because all our greedy activities endures prevented us from feeling this togetherness in silence. Okay, so we are on the rat race, which never leaves us any second to think about what we are doing or feel free to enjoy the beauty of silence or to understand each other and one another. All right, then he is taking the example of the fishermen and who are hurting whales and men who are gathering salt. Okay, this is to depict that the human greed has reached all the borders of the universe. That means human greed has destroyed the marine force, it has destroyed the land, it has destroyed sea, it has destroyed everywhere. So human atrocities, the atrocities that the human beings inject upon the earth, not only limits to other human being but also destroys the complete earth itself. So poet wanted to emphasize the idea that all the worldly activities that the human beings are crazy over do not develop us or sustain us. Rather, they are self-destructive, destruction upon the humanity and complete destruction of nature. Okay, so how do these fishermen and the man gathering salt represent? Fishermen in cold sea wouldn't harm whales stands for our destructive attitude towards the environment. Okay, so and the man gathering salt, look at his hurt hands. That this irony is we are so busy in our reckless efforts and activities to amass property, wealth, or satisfy our greed that we don't even have time to look at our own health, our own hands which are being hurt in our pursuit for fulfilling greed. Okay, so a man who is gathering salt is so busy gathering it, accumulating it so much because he's greedy over the money that he doesn't even have time to look at his hurt hands to realize that all his greeds are destroying himself. He's accumulating property, amassing money, but will he remain to enjoy this life or happy life which can be brought with money? No. So it is representing that the activities of the fishermen at the sea and the man gathering salt are self-destructive, completely destroying himself or herself. So, dear brethren, it is time for us to stop our activities for a while, keep quiet, and start thinking about what we are doing, to realize that these things are not going to do any good for us. Rather, it will destroy not only the humanity but also the nature, so that the humanity can never ever survive, which he says in the next following line says, victory with no survivors. Okay, hope you got it. Let's move on to the next lines. So those who prepare green wars, wars with gas and wars with fire, put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing, because you people who are creating wars out of green wars with gas and fire, realize that you are harvesting victory with no survivors to enjoy it. Okay, so those who prepare green wars, wars with gas and wars with fire. Green wars, why is it called the war green? Is not anything which is of a flourishing. Can be told that increasing war, green stands for plenty or flourishing situation, but that is not the real meaning of green wars here. If we associate a green color is associated with the jealousy. Okay, jealousy, the green-eyed monster. So I think Shakespeare describes jealousy as a green-eyed monster. So jealousy is very monstrous. So all the wars are taking place because of jealousy. Jealousy of the power of others, jealousy of the property of others, jealousy for the richness of others. So it comes out of envy. This enmity upon the nation and the people and the neighbors come out of the jealousy, and because we can't contain that others have more, we can't accept that others have more than us. So that leads to the extreme greed. So jealousy leads to jealousy for power, because of others' power, greed for power, greed for property, greed for wealth. Okay, so it has been said that almost all the wars in the world were fought either to possess a woman or to possess or confiscate a land. So mainly we can see that Almost all the wars were fought to confiscate the property of others, right? So because of jealousy or the fear factor. So jealousy, the green-eyed monster, that is what? Those who prepare wars out of the jealousy and greed for power, those who are preparing wars with gas and fire, it refers to chemical weapons. Okay, we have chemical weapons used, and this may be a particular reference to the 1945 issue, Hiroshima Nagasaki atom bomb. Okay, all these kinds of things. So we are very busy creating weapons with gas and fire. We are very busy creating such nuclear weapons. Okay, so we are very busy creating or making bombs to destroy others. So such people, those who are preparing green wars, wars with the gas, wars with fire, chemical weapons, you also put on clean clothes because you are causing the death of the humanity. So you also realize that it is not your brain power or intelligence which matters. It is the importance of realizing the aftermath or the consequence of one's own action. So it is high time, dear brethren, come out from your disastrous or destructive activities at the destruction of the humanity. Those who are preparing weapons for the war, come out in clean clothes and walk about with your brothers. You should realize that you are creating weapons against other human beings, but you have to understand that they are your brothers. So realize that all the people are your brothers and sisters, and what you are doing is against your brother and sisters. So come out in clean clothes and walk in the shade with your brothers and sisters, doing nothing. Stop your destructive activities. Otherwise, you have to realize that you are very busy preparing the weapons and wars and distractions, but what you are going to harvest is victory with no survival. So what a dangerous situation that is. You will achieve victory, but there is nobody to enjoy the victory. That is what we are fighting for. We are fighting for a fruitless or fragile victory which can be enjoyed by none, because the humanity will be mutually destroyed by everyone using this biochemical weapons. Okay, that is what the fate of the world right now. So Pablo Neruda wants people to think, being a diplomat, he must have immensely seen the atrocities of war, and he is encouraging us to realize this mistake should not happen ever. So, dear people, dear intelligent beings, you claim so that you are very busy in creating bombs and chemical weapons. Realize that you are destroying your own brothers. So stop your activities. We don't want such victories with no survivors. We want a win-win attitude and situation for everybody to live in peace and harmony. So come out, stop your activities. Wear clean clothes. You are soiling your clothes with his tremendous work and labor creating the destructive things in the world. So stop it. Leave your clothes in which you do your destructive labor. Your soily clothes should not be a part of this great effort to bring in peace, because that will remind you of your destructive ways. So put on clean clothes. Not only should you cleanse your mind, but also you should cleanse your body. Okay, so purity of thought and purity of action. So put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. Doing nothing, when he says, it doesn't mean that inactivity, total inactivity. That's what he's telling in the next line. What I want shouldn't be confused with total inactivity. So when I say come out, stop your work and come out doing nothing, that doing nothing should not be confused with the total inactivity, because total inactivity is death. We don't want any death. We want peace and silence. Stop all our destructive activities. What I mean with doing nothing is not death or not a total inactivity. Rather, I request you to stop all the destructive activities and keep your mind agile, alert, and put yourself on the strong thinking mode silently together with everybody. Okay, so what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. Life is what activity is about. Okay, life is an ongoing process. So life is what it is about. Life is full of activities. Okay, so life is nothing. Life is nothing but death if there is no activity. So life is an ongoing process, so that ongoing process should not be stopped. What I mean is stop all your destructive activities and start thinking, okay, or meditating over what you have done. Okay, so life is an ongoing process and it should never be confused with or associated with death. That's what he says about it. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. Life is full of activities, otherwise it is death. I want no truck with death. I want no shave with death. I want no association with death. He's connecting it the previous line. Total inactivity doesn't mean death. I don't want any deadly activities. Okay, so what I mean is when I say doing nothing, I mean you to stop all the activities associated with death. Stop all the destructive activities which are against the existence of humanity and nature. I request all of you to stop all such kinds of destructive activities which will lead to the death of humanity and nature. Just like the fishermen should stop hurting the whales, and man gathering salt should stop it because it is destroying him, and the people who are making wars or who are making weapons for the wars, stop it because you are all associating yourself with death. So when I say stop all these activities, it doesn't mean that you have to be associating with death. Okay, so because life is full of activities, activities come out of right thought leading to right action. Then he says, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves to death. Very simple. If we were not so single-minded, that means we are at present so single-minded. There's two ways we can interpret this. If we were not so single-minded, it would have been much better. Single-minded means selfish-minded with a single thought about self. That is single-minded. Okay, so selfish-oriented. If we were not so selfish-oriented to think about oneself and accumulate property, create weapons against others, destroy others, I only should live happily, enjoyingly. So if that single-minded worldly thought is remaining in us, probably a huge silence will disturb us. It will lead to complete destruction of the humanity, and there'll be complete death and silence. We won't be able to correct ourselves later. So, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, if we are not so selfish about our own life moving in a better way, and for once could do nothing, and we are not doing anything to stop these kinds of evil, greedy affairs, destroying others, accumulating one's own property, accumulating property and wealth and luxury for oneself, probably we are doing a mistake. It will be too late for us to correct our mistakes. Once again, if we are not so single, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once do nothing. We are so single-minded in our own ways that we don't care about others. We are doing our hell of affairs, worldly affairs, and destructively upon other human beings, thinking only on the selfish grounds, myself, my life, mine, and not at all ready to think what you are doing, how destructive it is, and you are not stopping your destructive thoughts and actions. Perhaps, probably, a huge silence might interrupt this sadness. A huge silence will be remaining. Silence, not peace. Death, complete destruction will be the result. If we are going on this much selfish and destroying each other and one another to amass things for oneself, to satisfy one's greed, and never think about our destructive ways and never change, perhaps it will lead to complete silence of the earth, complete death of humanity, total destruction and doom. And that sadness will come to our mind that we could have realized it earlier, we could have stopped it. That sadness of never understanding ourselves, never understanding our destructive activities, which led to the complete destruction of the humanity and earth, we may feel sad about. That sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves to death. Now we can't do anything. We are threatened with death because in our pursuit of greed, we never thought about our actions, the consequences of our actions. Our actions may lead to the death of others and later the death of myself. That is what we have seen, the rivalry between countries and the bombing upon one country, and then always threaten that the enemy country will be bombing upon this country, living in complete uncertainty and the fear of death is only because of our greed. So, in order to bring a world peace and universal brotherhood, and it is late than never that we have to realize our mistakes. So, my dear brethren of the world, let us stop all our destructive activities. Come out. Let us stand in silence for a moment. Let us feel the strange, beautiful togetherness of humanity. Let us realize that we are one, and whatever activities we are doing now are quite destructive to us, to others, as well as to us, and we are destroying nature, so we should not do that. If we are so single-minded, selfish in our thoughts and still we don't realize, perhaps in future it will be a huge silence of destruction, complete death of humanity, and we will be sad over the fact that we never realized our actions, we never realized ourselves, and now we are also threatened with death. Our life is in danger. So, dear brethren, dear all countries warring against each other, people warring against the neighbors and one another, please realize that it is high time that we through our selfishness, single-mindedness, and we have to think of the result of our action. Never have a kind of cocooning thoughts that it will not disturb us at all. Rather, we will be living in peace and luxury. It will not. It will destroy you because as you sow, so you reap. How you are doing, behaving with others, so the others will behave. So we are destroying others and destroying ourselves. So, dear brethren, come out, stop all your activities, wear clean clothes, wash off the remnants of your destructive labor from your body, wear clean clothes, purify your mind, come out together, feel togetherness with the humanity, all the people on earth. Let us, for a moment, introspect what we have been doing. Let us realize what good has it brought to the humanity, to the earth, to oneself. Then realize our mistakes. Let us change. Let us think for a new world. Let us germinate the seed of a new world of peace, understanding, universal brotherhood. That is what we have to do. So that is what the poet is trying to convey us through these lines. Okay, once again, if anybody has any misunderstanding about this line. He's telling, if we were not so single-minded, he wishes that we were not so single-minded. That means we are very single-minded. Single-minded means selfish-oriented, okay, only for the self. And we are living our life completely in the rat race to satisfy our greed, single-mindedly, worldly life. And for once, we are not doing anything now. We are not doing anything till now. So I'm requesting all of you to come out, think about yourself, think about your humanity, introspect over your activities. Okay, so otherwise, if you don't do it in right time now, you will be weeping over the huge silence that will disrupt you, will destroy your sleep. You can't, because you will be always under the threat that your life will be destroyed by the others, because you had been doing it with others. Okay, so huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding. What is the sadness? You have never understood your greedy activities. Now it is threatening your life. Okay, so you could have changed yourself earlier and threatening ourselves to death. Now the ending lines are very much inspiring. Perhaps the earth can teach us. He uses the word perhaps. That means he has a little doubt. That means rather, he is trying to bring in the urgency of time. He is provocating the people to think. It is high time that you thought about your misleading actions, the dire consequences of your action, not only for others, but for yourself and for nature. So perhaps, I doubt it. That means he is calling the urgency of everybody to follow suit in meditation and introspection. Perhaps the earth can teach us. I think the earth can teach you sometimes if you are ready to learn. So he still fears that humanity will not realize its mistake. He still fears that the people who are on the destructive path, their greed is so much that they are not, he doubts they may not be able to realize their mistake even now. That's one way. Next one is he is augmenting, or he is making an urgency of everybody to fall in place for quiet introspection to realize the mistake. So perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Perhaps the earth can teach us. What can the earth teach us? As when everything seems dead. When do you find that everything seems dead on earth? Which season? Winter season, right? So, winter season is a season of hibernation. Okay? Rather, we say a season of death and decay. You know, in winter season, all the leaves and vegetations die out, and they will become a manure for the earth, and new seeds and plants will grow with greenery, colors and fragrance and all, and will generate and nourish and completely blanket the earth with a new life. All right. So earth can teach us. If you look at the seasons of the earth, this itself will tell the cycle of life, right? Winter is a degenerating process, okay, a season of death, when all the activities are completely stopped. Upon earth it is all ice covered, no activity, no flowers, no leaf, no bird seen, nothing. Everything appears dead. But then what comes? After winter, the summer comes, then spring comes, everything comes back to life, new growth, new glory, new fragrance, new colors, new greenery. Earth will become a completely new life after that. Just like that, let us stop all our activities, just like in winter time. Externally, it appears that it is all dead, inactive, but inside, all the seeds are preparing to get germinated. So let us keep quiet and introspect. Keeping quiet and introspecting, this process is just like the earth during the winter season. Externally, it appears completely inactive, but internally, the germination starts, or they are heaving to or seething with energy and life to come out and glorify the earth. Just like that, when we keep quiet, we introspect, we realize our deadly thoughts, deadly actions, and we bury all such evil thoughts and actions, and we will sow the seeds of a new society which has the idea of brotherhood, well-being, tolerance, care, love and affection, universal brotherhood, and global peace. So let us keep quiet, introspect, realize our deadly activities, and bury them, let them decay, and in the decay of that devilish activities or thoughts, let us sprout the thoughts or ideals of brotherhood, universal peace. Let us bring forth a new generation, a new society, a new world order where mutual understanding, brotherhood, peace will be the fragrance and flowers and glory. So the writer is comparing the process of thinking, germinating new ideas, and putting them into practice for a new world order to the decay during the winter season. All the dead leaves will die out and decay under the earth, under the snow, and under the ice, and new seeds will wait for germination. And when the season is over, new seeds will germinate into new plants and flowers and fragrance, and the birds and all kinds of luxuries of the nature will be at its flamboyance. Just like that, we all human beings come out, stop all our destructive activities, and bury so those evil thoughts in your mind, and allow through introspection the germination of the good thoughts of brotherhood, peace, love, and affection, etc. Let us make a new world of mutual understanding. Fellow being should work for each other and one another, and tolerance, coexistence, collaboration, international peace, universal brotherhood. That is what the poet is trying to do. Okay, so if you look at the earth, sometimes you may understand what's the need of this introspection. Just like the earth appears to be dead during winter season, and when we stop all the activities, it appears to be inactive and dead. But inside our mind, under the earth, the seeds of new thoughts for a new world, the new seeds will germinate into new plants. Okay, and so like that, let us degenerate the deadly thoughts about its destructive ways upon humanity and nature, and germinate the good thoughts of new society. Okay, that is what he is talking about here. Now I'll count up to 12 and I will go. You continue the practice of introspection and changing yourself. Thank you.